Hey guys, welcome to day 8. Today we're going to continue talking about multi-step equations. So we're going to start by going over the warm-up. If you're absent, the warm-up is available to you in Schoology, so you might want to try that before beginning. So we kind of just went over the two equations in the warm-up. So last class we learned the acronym DC-MAM to help us remember how to solve equations. So this told us to first distribute. So we took 16y minus negative 4 times 5y is negative 20y, and then negative 4 times negative 7 is positive 28, and that's equal to 4 plus 2y. Okay, we then combined like terms on either side of the equal sign, so we took 16y minus the 20y, combined them, and got negative 4y plus 28 would be equal to 4 plus 2y. Okay, we're going to move the variable to one side, so I'm going to take the 2y and move it over by subtracting 2y from both sides. Okay, when we do that, negative 4y minus 2y is negative 6y plus 28, and that's going to be equal to 4. Okay, and then we're going to add, or in this case, subtract the constant, which is 28. So we're going to subtract 28 from both sides. Negative 6y is going to be equal to a negative 24. And then we divide both sides by negative 6. So our y is equal to 4. Okay, so you should have gotten y equals 4. The second one, all right, we start out, we distribute, and we have 4x minus x plus 4, because a negative times x is negative x, and a negative times negative 4 is positive 4. And that's going to be equal to negative 20 plus 6x. Okay, we're going to combine our like terms on the left side, so we have 3x plus 4 equals negative 20 plus 6x. All right, I'm then going to move the variable, so I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. And when I do that, I get negative 3x plus 4 is equal to negative 20. And then I'm going to subtract the constant, which is negative 4. So negative 3x is equal to negative 24. All right, our final step is to divide by the coefficient. And we get x is going to be equal to 8. So there's our warm-up. Okay, in the warm-up as well, we reviewed some properties. Okay, if you looked at number 3, if you add the opposite, this is the additive inverse. Okay, number 4, notice you have an if, and then. So this is going to be an example of the transitive property. Number 5, you're just switching the order. So this is actually commutative, and you're multiplying. So it's commutative of multiplication. All right, number 6, we have an if-then statement, no and in there. So if it's if and then, this is actually symmetric. 7, the new property that looks like a reflection, but it's called reflexive property. And number 8, we've been doing this all along. Notice we're distributing, so this is the distributive. All right, so moving on to our notes. So you guys, well, first off, you could check your homework, again, 7B, that's in Schoology, see how you did with that. But moving forward, now we're in 8A for our notes. Okay, so we're going to give you some examples of what happens when equations do not have one solution. So up till now, we would have one solution. Maybe x is equal to 3 or x is equal to negative 2, but we've only had one solution. Okay, looking at our first example, watch what happens when we distribute. We're still going to follow DC-MAM. So we start out and we distribute. Okay, when we move the variable to one side, we subtract 12y from both sides. If you notice, when we do that, we're left with 6 equals 6 because both sides, the 12y cancels out. 6 equals 6 is a true statement. Okay, so if you solve an equation and you get a true statement, then the solution is, how do we write this? We say all real numbers. So we write it as all real numbers like this. Okay, so the symbol that we have for all real numbers, okay, looks like it looks like an R, but it has a double vertical line. So that's the symbol for it. Okay, so an example would be like 6 equals 6. Okay, that would be an example of all real numbers. And we can say that y is an element of the real number set. You might see it look kind of like that as well. But we're saying y can be any value. Okay, so if we looked at example number 2, let me move this over. It's kind of scrolled over a little bit. Let's move that over. Okay, so when we distribute number 2, let's pull that up. Here we go. Whoops. That's looking kind of funny. There we go. All right, let's distribute. Let's just look at the example. We got 5 plus 20m equals 6 plus 20m. Okay, so I distributed. Now, when I move the variable to one side, we subtract 20m from both sides. We end up with 5 equals 6. Well, we know that 5 does not equal 6, so that's a false statement. So in that case, there's no solution. Okay, so there's no value of m that would work to make that a true statement. Okay, so that's an example of no solution. All right, so let's try some examples here. I'm going to distribute 6x plus 42 equals 6x, that's a positive. Negative 6 times negative x is positive 6x. And then we have 6 times 2x minus, and then we've got 6 times 14 is a positive 84. All right, so when I move my variable, I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. And again, the 6x's cancel out, and we're left with 42 equals 84. Well, that's a false statement, so we know there's no solution because 42 does not equal 84. All right, so let me scroll this to the side so it's not cut off. Okay, there it is. Okay, if I look at number 4, I distribute, I've got 12x minus 6 equals negative 6 plus 4x. Okay, I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. And when I do that, I get 8x minus 6 equals negative 6. All right, I'm going to add my constant to both sides. So in this case, we end up with 8x is equal to 0. Okay, we divide both sides by 8, and we end up with x is equal to 0. So this does have a solution. The solution is just one solution, and it's x is equal to 0. Okay. So next, we're going to talk a little bit about proportions. So last year you learned a little bit about proportions, okay? And you may remember that you used cross products, okay? Cross products to find the solutions. Okay, what that means is you take the numerator of one of the fractions, 23, and you multiply it by the denominator of the other, and you set it equal to the other two multiplied together, 2 times s. So you're going to take kind of both sides, and you're going to take the numerator of one times the denominator of the other equal to the denominator times the numerator. It doesn't matter the order, okay? But when you do that, you're going to get 23 times 4 is 92, or 92 is equal to 2s. And then we divide both sides by 2, and our s is going to be equal to 46, or 46 is equal to s. Okay, so where we have to be careful with this is with example number 6. Notice the top has 2 terms. You have to make sure you put that in parentheses. So when you set up your cross products, this is going to be 64 times m plus 3, and that's important, and that's going to be equal to 8 times 40. All right, when you distribute, you get 64m plus 192 is equal to 320. We then subtract the 192 from both sides, and we end up with 64m is equal to 128. Okay, so then you divide both sides by 64, and your m is equal to 2. Okay, so again, we did our cross products. Okay, looking at number 7, let's set it up. So we do the same thing. Okay, we're going to do our cross products. So we're going to take 11, we're going to put it in parentheses, times c minus 8. Okay, and then we set it equal to negative 2 times 11 minus 4c. And notice I put both in parentheses. Okay, and then we just go back to what we were doing. We distribute. And the more you do this, the faster you get. Okay, and then you're going to move the variable. So I'm going to subtract my 8c from both sides. I've got 3c minus 88 is equal to negative 22. And then I'm going to add my 88 to both sides. 3c is going to be equal to 66. And then I divide by 3. My C is 22. All right. And then number 8 works the same way. Again, cross products. And again, it doesn't matter which side you work with, okay? We'll say 6 times negative 49 is going to be equal to 7 times x plus 7. So that's how we can set it up. Or we could have set it up this way. All right. Doesn't matter, okay? So when we go with it like that, we'll distribute 7x plus 49 is going to be equal to a negative 294. All right, we then subtract 49 from both sides, and our 7x is going to be equal to a negative 343. And then we divide by 7, so our x is going to be equal to negative 49. Okay, so that's it for our notes today. So if you use this, you can then go and work on your homework, okay, which would be 8B. All right, so in class today, you will also take the minor summative on properties. So if you did miss today, you should expect that to be assigned to you. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.